Pete Bercich, in-booth analyst for the KFAN Minnesota Vikings audio network, courtesy of Sukup Manufacturing and Sukup.com. Joins 9 to noon each and every Monday. Follow him via @Pete via X. And there you can learn about his YouTube channel, Eye in the Sky, with a couple of nice submissions last week up to the victory over the Commanders. And the analyst joins us now. A shutout. And the Vikings were on the right side of it. So super happy for the defense because despite the 4-game losing streak, I mean, those guys have been playing quite well, and especially when the time of possession isn't all lopsided, and they were rewarded yesterday. Good morning, Pete.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, they've it's not just the time of possession, it's all the turnovers that this team had been creating and giving additional possessions to the opposing offense and the play counts. And you look at the stats and the numbers from this game, and it was the Commanders who didn't make it to 50 snaps yesterday. So the shoe was kind of on the other foot. And as that momentum swung and we finally were multiple scores ahead of an offense, they were desperate, so to speak. They went for it on 4th down, deep in their red zone. They also went for it again later. Each time it worked out for the defense. So we were all wondering where the turnovers went, right? Where did they go? How come they're so hard to get? Well, there's a lot to be said about, what the offense that you're playing against has in mind. I mean, teams were, because our offense was by no means putting up points and moving the football, they were fine with handing it off once or twice and throwing a short pass on 3rd down. If it doesn't work, you punt, try to flip the field, and knowing your defense will probably get a 3-and-out and play that game. So it was refreshing to see that whole thing get turned around, and it reminded me of a lot of games last year.
Hey, Pete, Byron Murphy Jr. is one of my favorite guys in the Covenant, and he had 6 interceptions last year. That was the most since Jimmy Hitchcock on your 98 Vikings, when he had 7 and 3 got to the house. Well, Byron now has gone 17 consecutive without a pick. The longest run of his career without an interception was 19 back when he started with Arizona. Why do you think Murphy doesn't have an interception? And do you think the fact that teams started running so much on the Vikings with the unbalanced looks and stuff like that, how much does that play into it?
I think it plays into it a ton, Paul. Don't forget, this defense saw more passes last year than any other defense in the league. Right? So there's just more opportunities. There's just more things that can happen. And this year, we're just not seeing it. You're not seeing a ton of deep balls. I mean, our defense is very, very good against deep passes. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're just not seeing a lot of them. Teams don't have to do that. They're not forced to do that. So I think Byron Murphy's kind of in a catch-22 in that regard, meaning, he hasn't been tested a ton, but then he hasn't been rewarded a ton either in that respect. There's just not a lot of action going on out on the outside. I mean, we've seen Isaiah Rodgers for the last, 8-9 weeks be in run support and have to tackle more than we do see him making coverage plays down the field like he did against Cincinnati. So that aspect of it, I think, is the biggest part. I don't think it has anything to do with what Byron Murphy is or is not doing.
Yeah.
You mentioned Isaiah Rodgers, and just kind of a consistent factor with the secondary is just some tackling issues over the course of 2025. Some inconsistencies there. I thought it was interesting, I read it being reported on X. Did you notice that there was a ton of Jay Ward on the field, it looked like, in base coverage, with Isaiah Rodgers coming in nickel? Did you notice that throughout the game, maybe because of the tackling?
I think that would. I didn't notice it. Off the top of my head, I did not notice that. I know Jay Ward, who is a safety, ended up in the cornerback kind of spot, so to speak, quite a bit. That is something our defense can do. We can invert safeties and do different things like that. It's kind of the flexibility of the whole thing. Metellus was in the deep half a lot more than we've seen, I think, in a while. So they're putting him a little bit deeper. But it's a response to the amount of quick throws and outside plays that you're getting, right? I mean, teams see it on film. They saw the Seattle film, and they saw that Isaiah Rodgers, when you get a football, you throw a quick pass outside or get Charbonnet or someone outside quickly. He's a cover guy. He's not, he doesn't make his money tackling people at the line of scrimmage. And so they want to exploit that. And I think that Jay Ward was in a kind of an adjustment to that, put a better tackler out there, and try to keep teams from wanting to throw those whip screens and all the quick throws on the outside. So just an evolution of it. And for Isaiah Rodgers, you want to see him tackle better? Yeah, of course you do. But, I mean, everybody has their own skill set.
Jay Ward hit Zach Ertz's knee and triggered an ACL, and absolutely, I mean, squarely popped that knee and is getting predictably savaged on all social media channels. Jay, we know Jay well enough to know he's not a dirty player by trade. Clearly he made a mistake and it cost Zach Ertz the season. But like, how do you handle that with what transpired yesterday?
What the hell else is he supposed to do?
Yeah.
Zach Ertz is 6'4", 6'5", and he's jumping in the air to get a pass. I mean, Back in the day, that was a murder ball. That's on the quarterback for throwing that football where he did and letting it hanging his wide receiver out to dry. I mean, Jay Ward, this is different than a tight end catching a football on the ground, and turning and making a turn. You know what I'm saying? And then having someone come in and take out his ankles, which again, I don't know what else. I don't know what else DBs are supposed to do these days. I really don't. I mean, and in this case, Zach Ertz was airborne. This stuff happens so quickly. I just wish people could get and I have an idea or just have a feel and just experience what goes on in the course of a play like that, and then step back and then say, well, it was a dirty hit. You know him when you see him. I mean, like Shazier, you see him do some stupid things and some of those hits. But my goodness, I don't think there's anything else that Jay Ward could have done. I mean, you want to be aggressive. You want to use the ability to hit. It's a weapon of the defense. It's something the defense can do. They've tried to limit it as much as they can, keep the head out of the contact. So what else are you supposed to do when you're a safety or a DB going up against the tight end who's 40 inches up in the air, right? I really don't know. It's unfortunate. It's awful. I feel for Zach Ertz. I mean, he's a great player, and I mean, it's part of the game, Paul. I mean, what do you do? You need to hit him a little higher. Okay, right. I'm gonna be able to recalculate and in a fraction of a second decide I'm gonna hit him in the waist or hit him. It's just, and then you can end up hurting yourself. Right. So, I don't know. There's no answer to this. There really isn't. So, it's unfortunate and move on because I don't think there's anything anybody can do about what happened.
Speaking of moving on and moving forward with J.J. McCarthy yesterday, really his most productive and consistent game as a pro, no interceptions or turnovers. We love all of that. I'm just curious, given the time that you spent coaching in the league, we're going to focus on JJ learning and getting better and growing. But is there an aspect to this process where Kevin O'Connell is learning and growing in terms of how he handles JJ McCarthy on a weekly basis?
I think for Coach O'Connell and the offense, they're learning and changing and not manipulating, but just evolving the system to what he can do. Right. This isn't the passing game we saw yesterday isn't the passing game that we have with Kirk Cousins or Sam Darnold.
Right.
It's not. It just is not. So in that respect, they're learning what McCarthy can do. Right. They may have given him more or too much early than they should have in hindsight. But they pared it down to give him what he can execute. And a lot of those throws, Paul and I talk about this all the time. You got a guy who is accurate and kind of cold-blooded in between the hash marks in the middle of the field and quick throws. He can do that. And so you build on that, and you get a couple weeks in of this, and because defenses are going to evolve, right? They're going to change their coverages for the quick routes and the underneath stuff, and that'll open some opportunities deep. Well, then you got to kind of expand the route tree and say, all right, we're going to start hitting them with this and this and this. So it's kind of a reset, I think, in some ways, and we had the perfect team to do it because, Paul and I, we talked about it during the game, is that they play off coverage on the outside, which you don't see a ton of anymore. But these corners, man, I mean, Sainristil and Jonathan Jones were lining up 9-10 yards off and backpedaling. I mean, you don't see that a lot. And we were able to take advantage of the outside. So in that regard, it was a perfect storm. And then McCarthy benefited from it. But we'll see this thing, I think, slowly advance to look a little bit more like what we saw in the past. And we're going to have to take our time because he's young. He's a rookie, or still like a rookie.
Time for one more.
So if and I dealt with this a bit on Fan Line yesterday, and I want your take. So expanding on that with JJ and the coach and evolving, if someone was to flippantly say, "Well, why did this take until week 14 for this to happen?" Where would your head be at, or where would you go to in response to that? Where we've been wanting to see positivity with JJ, saw a bit of it yesterday. But in terms of like simplifying the offense and some of the conversations taking place throughout the week, someone might flippantly say, "Well, it's week 14. Why didn't we do this 2 months ago?"
Well, what's the longest stretch of games that JJ McCarthy has played? 2?
3 maybe.
3?
Yeah, he played 2, missed 5, played 4, missed 1.
Yeah. So he hasn't really strung a whole lot of games together.
Yeah.
He really hasn't, week in and week out. It's an inconsistency, and that's probably my biggest concern for him development-wise over the long run is just staying healthy, staying on the field, because you need to be out there week in and week out. It's like the cornerback position. You may have a couple of good weeks in a row, and then the guy misses 2 or 3 games. Well, you kind of go back to square one because there's an evolution of success. Defenses make a change, then you have to change, and then you have more success, and then you're like, okay, I got that arrow in my quiver. I've learned this, and then there's the next one and the next one, and that process continues throughout your entire career. But then at some point you start building up a catalog of, oh, hey, remember when we did this, and oh, hey, I remember when I did that, or we responded this way or that way. Yeah, and that's when you start taking things to the next level. So I think his in and out has really slowed his progress. Hopefully he finishes the rest of this season and stacks some pretty good games together. I don't expect him to be, flawless the rest of the year. But put some games together that you have at least an idea going into next year, what you're going to do. And either way, because of him being in and out, you have to have a veteran backup for next year. No question about it in my mind. Because you just don't know. He's still young, but you just don't know if he's going to be out there for all 17 games. So you definitely need to bring in somebody to back him up that's ready to go.
Thanks, my brother. And say hi tomorrow when we're at TCOPC for X's and O's with Kevin O'Connell if you get the opportunity. And have a wonderful day. Okay, Pete?
You too, man. See you. Bye.
See you, bud. Pete Bercich, Sioux Cup Manufacturing and SiouxCup.com. Manufacturing, you say? Well, the Minnesota Vikings manufactured a 19-play, 98-yard touchdown drive that took 12 minutes and a second and went over 2 quarters. Dissecting the drive is next on KFAN.
You're listening to The Fan.
Welcome back to 9 to noon. It is time for Vikes Bites. Vikes Bites always presented by Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef.
Ed Ingram.
and you can shop online. Box of meat shows up at your doorstep. That's pretty sweet. I've done that several times. Freezer is stocked with Thousand Hills, but you can go to Coburn's and Kowalski's locations, your local co-ops as well. Terrific product, regenerative agriculture. Go to the website. But Thousand Hills, thank you for Vikes Bites. And as you've mentioned, PA, kind of the idea, the dissection of a drive is really the purpose of this one. And where we want to start here is a 19-play, 98-yard drive that had the Minnesota Vikings eventually take a 14-0 lead. And one of the most impressive drives of the season, if you think about it, PA, kind of the conversation has been...
I think it's the most impressive drive of the season.
Well, one of. I mean, one of the more impressive drives maybe in the NFL this season.
Right.
might be a bigger talker there, but kind of... Wow, this team struggles in 2025, can't string together that time-consuming drive, losing time of possession on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis, fewer plays on offense than the adversary week to week. I wonder if the Vikings offense was tired yesterday from the 61 freaking plays. They're almost like, hey, should we go 3 and out and give the defense an opportunity to play in this one a little bit? They were on the field for, I believe, 35 minutes yesterday. We dig all of that. But the anatomy of a drive, and I want to start here in terms of Ben Lieber on the broadcast yesterday talking about first down success. The Vikings were having first down success throughout that game yesterday, and a big part of the 7 first downs, PA, that the Vikings had during that 19-play drive, of the 7 first downs, 5 of them were runs. And so just kind of thinking about how this team traditionally operates, Pete Bercich hit it on the head. This is not the offense that we saw with Cousins, not the offense we saw with Darnold, trying to grow the kid on the fly. But in terms of simplifying things and creating a platform for the kid to work from, 10 of the 19 plays were running back runs. I mean, that kind of mix yesterday. You got 8 from Mason, including the touchdown, 2 from Aaron Jones. You also then had the JJ third down scramble, which I think third downs is where we should really dissect this drive.
McCarthy eludes a sack in the end zone, and now he runs up the middle, and he dives at the 10-yard line, and McCarthy may have gone diving for the first down. He got a 6-yard gain. Chains move. J.J. McCarthy with tenacity.
I love this whole thing. Domination. Us. Who knew? Domination. The Minnesota Vikings with a 19-play, 98-yard touchdown drive after shutting down a team with 3 plays from the 2. I mean, bottle that whole scenario so we can call on it when needed. Mason was the bookender from the 2 to the end zone.
Yeah.
And that play you just played, when I watched it back, one thing that it's just the nuance and it's the human nature. It's just the side bits that need to be followed closely when you're coming at it from 4 and 8. Well, when McCarthy dove, Justin Jefferson, I don't know what he was yelling, but he was probably about 15 feet away, pointing at him.
Was he going, you?
And just yelling like, you. They said it was you. You're that guy. But Jefferson was just, if only for a moment, very proud of his quarterback.
So this is a team ultimately that, some team, pass to run, or, how you set up your game plans on a week-to-week basis in the Kevin O'Connell offense.
Just quickly, as context goes off what you just said and played, 5 third downs on, was it 5? 5 third downs.
5 third downs.
Yeah, with an average yards to gain of 7 yards.
Yep.
Okay, so 3rd and 7 on average, and that includes the Mason TD run, and that was 3rd and 1. They started 6 for 6 on 3rd down anyway.
Yeah, they did indeed. Now, sadly, they had trouble the rest of the game finishing up on 3rd downs. I think they were 6 of 11 when it was all said and done.
Yeah.
Converted a couple of nice 4th downs yesterday. We dig that.
Somebody pissed off Jonathan Jones and Daron Payne, and they decided to play really hard in the second half.
So when you mentioned those 3rd downs, I think, as cool as it was yesterday, complimentary football. We got takeaways, Vikings offense on shorter fields. You love all of that, and you run for $162 in total. I think it's $143, we'll call it, from the running backs themselves, as JJ had some yards on the ground too. But it does come down to the 3rd downs, and it came down to a 3rd and 6. You heard on the scramble. It came down to a 3rd and 9. and the quarterback, not the running backs, had to make the play.
McCarthy facing a four-man rush, throws left, caught, first down, effortless. Jalen Naylor, he's quite identifiable in the early stages. Gain of 12 and a first down.
So the evolution of this offense, and we saw everything we needed to see yesterday during this freaking 19-play juggernaut of a drive. Goes 98, takes 12 minutes and a second off the clock. We love all that.
I think there was a Jefferson screen left that didn't do anything.
That was hideous.
So even but you're right. We saw everything.
Well, that was didn't that feel, if you remember back? It's like, well, hold on. We're like 12 or 13 plays into this. We haven't gone 18's way.
Right.
Let's do something to make 18 feel like he's part of the bit.
Right.
And
Darisaw got to his guy late. Hawkinson looked like he was on the wrong side of his guy. And
just
down goes 18.
Clipping penalties. But the evolution of this offense, and I think it's going to continue to require patience for Justin Jefferson, because yesterday the growth element here was the processing was a little faster, and he was taking the easy stuff. The Washington Commanders, Pete hit on it. I was listening to part of the TV broadcast as well, and they both areas mentioned, radio or TV, that you saw their corners playing off coverage, and they play a lot of zone. And they don't blitz a lot these days because half of Dan Campbell's defensive roster is injured. So they're not sending an extra guy all the time. They just want to make it muddy in zone and rally to the tackle point. And JJ was taking what was available to him. Again, third down prowess. That was a 3rd and 9 to Naylor. This is 3rd and 8 to Jordan Addison.
The Vikings have run it 10 times and thrown it 7. And we're in the second quarter.
Just crazy.
J.J. McCarthy, 3rd and 8 from the Commanders' 49. Puts Jefferson in motion to the right, back to the left, four-man rush. J.J. quick firing left, caught, first down at the 27-yard line. Jordan Addison on the quick fire. They got him matched up with safety Quan Martin. That'll be a connection of 22 and another Minnesota Vikings first down.
Absolutely an X's and O's with KO tomorrow. I'm going to bring that play up. It went for 21 yards. It was right hash mark over to the left sideline, right in front of O'Connell.
Yeah.
McCarthy had a good pocket that fanned out. He stepped up. Now Jefferson or Oliver, or maybe both. There could have been some hits there too. But he eyeballed Addison.
Yeah.
And split it. It probably was a little low, but he split safety Quan Martin and the cornerback, Sane Ristil, I think. But he split those two. I'm going to say to Kevin O'Connell, for my taste, man, and you watch them all and I don't, I think that's one of the best throws he's had in his young career because of the complementary nature.
Right.
Moving company protects, fans the guys out. He steps up. There are no block shots, no passes defensed at the line, and fires a bullet where elite arm strength is required to go from that hash mark to that sideline, and it goes for 21.
Well, and I wonder, dissection of a drive, how about dissection of a play? Is there a growth moment there? Because if you remember just a couple weeks ago against the Bears, I think it was against the Bears. Someone in the text line will definitely tell me if I'm wrong. Against the Bears, similar play, right hash, going far left to the boundary. So they're going right to left on your TV screen, near side early in the Bears game. JJ misses a similar route run by Addison, and he throws it. I mean, it had to bounce twice before it got to Addison on that play. It was an hideous throw. But this time, yesterday, now similar again. I mean, that's probably 40, 45 yards real distance that he has to chuck that thing.
Yep.
And he hit it on a freaking frozen rope. So maybe even dissection of a play. He saw that route open a couple weeks ago and just whiffed on it. And this time he daggered it. That's a nice moment for JJ, I think.
Minimizing the Josh Freeman moments each and every game. I mean, there was only one bad overthrow.
Yeah, that was on this drive.
It was right side, Commander's bench.
Yeah,
It might have been Addison or Jefferson.
It was Addison.
Yeah. So I mean, minimizing the Josh Freeman moments. Hey, that's a step.
And it was an easy pitch and catch opportunity for him too.
I'm glad you put that Addison 21 in there.
But it was the only one. And again, think about how different this drive. Well, obviously this drive goes differently if he doesn't hit those third downs that you've heard. this game potentially is different. I mean, that just kind of the ripple effect of how this works. And then finally, it's a 3rd and 12. We tried to force Jefferson into the mix, and that went south in a freaking hurry. The loss of 2 on the quick out. So it's 3rd and 12. I need to move the chains again after a couple of bad runs. Let's get it to 18 and see what he can do.
16th play of a possession that's gone 68 yards. Minnesota 3 of 3 on 3rd down. 3rd and 12 from the Commanders 30. McCarthy throws over the middle. Caught. Jefferson to the 25. Turns it up to the 20. And now, with his back to the goal line, falls backwards for 14. And a Minnesota Vikings first down. Justin Jefferson, well done.
Oh, how about those 3rd down conversions, man? 3rd and 6, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 12. And then on a 3rd and 1, Jordan Mason finishes it off.
3rd and 1 for Minnesota from the 8. The Vikings are 4 of 4 on 3rd down. McCarthy under center. Hands it to Mason. Sprints to the left, to the 5, to the end zone. Touchdown! Jordan Mason with his 6th rushing touchdown this year. And Minnesota has taken a 13-0 lead.
You're begging him to run it on 3rd and short, PA, and he did it yesterday. He was running on 1st down, seeing success. The kid QB is converting 3rd and medium and longers, 4 of them during that drive, 1 with his legs and 3 with his arms. And then on 3rd and 1, you're getting to the doorstep, and Jordan Mason finishes it off. So you got the 1st down running, you got the 2nd down success, you have the 3rd down stuck and need to convert, and you convert them. And in the end, you had a drive, 98 yards. It was 48 on the ground, 53 in the pass. The kid was 5 of 6 throwing it. Only incompletion was that overthrow to Addison. It's just everything that you wanted to see. Again, the evolution of JJ it's going to require patience with Jefferson, where he's finding Naylor. Hey, why doesn't he get the tight ends involved? Can you get the tight ends any more involved than you got them yesterday with the 3 tight end touchdowns?
Yeah.
So the easy stuff, a little quicker processing, and then just as he said it himself during those drive-bys, a cooler and calmer appearance it showed, I think, for the most part. There was maybe their first possession of the 3rd quarter was kind of a quick and ugly one, but other than that, JJ looked the part yesterday. Did he do it against a bad defense? Absolutely. But he did what he was supposed to do against that bad defense. And the most impressive drive of the season taking place. And 9 was the maestro in the mix on those 3rd downs.
Well, the next defense they get into the week was 30th in yards allowed. The one they just scorched, 31st with yards allowed. So now you run more than you pass. You kill it in the time of possession. You get 3 tight end touchdowns. Eberflus shaking in his tennis shoes.
I always love that one.
O'Connell set it up beautifully to throw 80% of the time. O'Connell got it all set up for double moves up and down on Sunday Night Football.
Well, we were joking about it on Fan Line yesterday. Like, do you think, obviously in jest, like he's addicted to those deep plays? Like the head coach is sitting there like, okay, well, I mean, but JJ was open.
Deep plays?
JJ was open for that explosive right there.
We haven't had any this year.
And he's just sitting there. He's like, okay, yeah, it's fine. It's good. That's why we got Jordan Mason. Certainly. That's cute. That's fun. I'm glad he got that rushing touch. But Jefferson's over on the deep post.
Yes.
Why are we not hitting the deep post?
Yes.
Oh, it's cool. Yeah. Speedy Naylor contract year. It might end up costing us money if we see any more success from Naylor. There's Jefferson. There's Jefferson right there. It's an easy, quick and easy 35 yards. He's just spent it the whole week. JJ's going to throw it 56 times on Sunday Night Football.
He'll throw it 53. Jefferson will throw it 3.
Stop!
Jefferson not in the backfield one time yesterday. Eberflus shaking in tennis shoes.
Yeah.
Wondering what's next. On the Mason rushing touchdown, again, Jordan Mason was the bookender on that 1998 1201. It's the second. It's only the second 98-yard touchdown drive in the NFL this year, but it was us. It was the Minnesota Vikings running more than they're passing, connecting on every 3rd down, and going 19 plays and taking up 12 minutes in a second. Where into the game, the Vikings were 27 minutes and change with the time of possession, 29th in the NFL. So that undoubtedly will get better. And finally, On the Mason touchdown run, a wonderful, wonderful play design in that everything went right hard, including Mason. But then he kind of swung it back to the left. Just had one corner to get through, and that was easy. But on the critical moment, as Mason encountered the corner, T.J. Hawkinson just mashing on Commanders' defensive linemen and linebackers to make sure it was a one-on-one between the running back and the corner. That plays into the human nature gets to win too, because that's a violent play where there are a lot of people in a claustrophobic situation. That's when you potentially, if you ain't doing it right, could go down, and then you're rehabbing in the off season. So the want to and the approach to each and every game has been 10 of 10 from an energy standpoint and from an intensity standpoint. So it'll need to continue Sunday night against the Dallas Cowboys. And finally, your kicker, Will Reichard, 61 of 61 on extra points. Dang, man, 61 of 61. Alabama kid just does not miss. Parker Fox, emerging broadcasting talent. He joins 9 to noon around the corner on FM 100.3 KFAN.
Man.
Here he is. P-Fox, Parker Fox. Swaggy P's, what they call him around the TikTok stable. And Parker Fox joins 9 to noon each and every Monday and occasionally on Wednesday to amplify the program. It's 10:51. Welcome back to FM 100.3 KFAN via X. You can follow Parker Fox at Parker Fox24, at Parker Fox24. What's more important to you? Not necessarily putting a tweet out, watching the repost bit, the quote tweet, the quote post, the likes, the slot machine move, and checking like your views analytics every 2 minutes. Like, that's not you. Just like alter ego of, well, that's 9, that arrogant 9 thing.
9.
It's like when it was brought up to me, 2 days after it happened, I was like, the 9-bit sucks. Okay. It's not the kid. I'm just telling you that there was a moment that we've all had, in our lives, up or down. Well, that bit sucks. I don't like it. And because I know it's not him. And like I'm saying here, with the way I laid things out with Parker first, looking at the analytics and everything, I know that's not you. Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, if you put something out there that you think is kind of cool, you want people to see it.
Yeah.
So for you, at Parker Fox24 via Twitter, or like Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok, like where you are at this stage of your life / career. Mm-hmm. Like what matters to you most?
Yeah, that's a great question. I guess I've never truly considered it too much. I think obviously when you're in this space, hanging out with you and in the KFAN space, I think at the end of the day, you're dumb if you don't think the more social media engagement and interaction is going to get you more views, which can get you more sponsors. And that's the financial side behind it. And I think, anybody has to have that approach, right? But I think also, just being yourself and if people enjoy that, they can follow you and they can, watch along of what you're doing. And I think that's the way I kind of approach Twitter is, just consuming the content I want to consume. I'm an NBA head, so I love all the NBA content on Twitter and on X and the whole bit. And I love following our Wolves on there. I think there's some awesome creators in that way. And then you also get, the Go for Basketball stuff, and now with the Big Ten Network stuff, they put out a lot of really good content too, and also KFAN and iHeart and the whole bit. So I think that's what I use X for. But nowadays, PA, it's I think you're strictly an X guy, but there's Instagram, there's Twitter, there's Snapchat, there's TikTok, there's the whole bit. So it's 5, 6, 7 different platforms that you can post on, and you can create your brand and your following. And nowadays, it's been so common to see these content creators and people making money and financially able to support themselves through that stuff. And credit to them, because it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of commitment and editing and the whole thing. So I think for me personally, I just growing my brand and continue to be myself and just be authentic through what I post and who I am, especially on X, because I think that's a good way to do it.
So with TikTok, if those wanted to follow you, what is the bit like some Swaggy P thing?
Yeah, I think my TikTok name is Swaggy P Fox. Yeah,
Swaggy P Fox.
Yeah, there you go. That was
Swaggy P Fox via
Nick Young created the Swaggy P. You know what I mean? He was the OG Swaggy P. So I was like, how do I build off of that? I'll just add the Fox to it.
On TikTok, Nordo is Big Daddy Con.
Yeah.
And I'm the Dribbler.
Yeah.
And so you can follow us via TikTok, the Dribbler, either that or Map of Key West, but unintended. That's another TikTok.
Definitely not a basketball reference, that's for sure.
It really isn't, and he's Big Daddy Con. All right, Swaggy P, Swaggy P Fox. Let's start here. You picked a good one to attend yesterday at the palatial Purple Paradise, known as U.S. Bank Stadium. Parker Fox very much in attendance. However, why didn't you wear the 9?
You know what's funny?
Why didn't you wear the 9?
I had the 9 on.
You did?
Yeah. No, I had it on in my house, and I took it off last minute. Mm-hmm. I couldn't find an undershirt. That was the problem.
So Taylor's been gone, it feels like 3 months. I mean, really, do you need the fiance to lay out your clothes?
You know, it's
like, here, honey, here's the undershirt, here's the 9. Put a coat over the 9 when you're in the box or the Medtronic or the suite or the press box. Take off the coat so everybody can see the 9.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
I actually think, and here's, so I have jerseys. I don't really wear them. I mean, when I'm watching the Vikings, it's usually work related, right?
Yeah, totally.
So I think purple's a tough color. Mm-hmm. Purple's a tough color unless you have, it's got to be a white, yellow, or purple undershirt.
Yep.
And then the tough thing for me, because just as beautiful as the Vox's hair is, mine is the complete opposite. I'm losing it in a hurry. I'm a hat guy. The hat also has to be in line with that white, the yellow, and the purple. Mm-hmm. So it just becomes too much of a thing. And I'll lose, like, I can't wear like a blue hat with a Vikings jersey. That's unacceptable.
You're giving me anxiety thinking about the hat matching the shirt and the shoes got to match. Hey.
Well, I mean, I got it. I almost just fell asleep over here listening to the 50 different social media applications. That gave me anxiety.
I wore Hickey Freeman slacks yesterday with Danner boots. So as the
I loved your combo. Yeah, I loved that yesterday.
But I mean, I'm walking through snow, so the kids may not necessarily approve of the, quote, fit, end quote, but I got through that snow nicely with the Danner boots.
No, you have boomer boots. So the way that you roll in sometimes with the boots and then like your jeans are kind of halfway tucked in, halfway out of the boots, it's kind of a boomer boots vibe.
Yeah.
But to Parker's point, I was just merely echoing and co-signing the fact that if you don't have the right undershirt, like purple's a tough color and you got to match it up.
Yeah.
You also add that on top of the fact that I'm in the booth hanging out with you a little bit, PA, you know what I mean? So it's like you want to have a professional approach a little bit to that as well. And then there's also the bit, Nordo, where wearing another man's jersey, I don't know where you stand on that as a grown man, and I think there's some debate out there. I think when you come from a perspective of, hey, I'm a fan of this team, I'm a fan of this player, I think it's okay, but I think there's also some people that will be like, yeah, you're wearing another man's jersey. Where's the...
So I'm very pro jersey if you want to wear it.
With this new job.
No,
anyway,
but
go ahead.
I'm very pro jersey. Here's where I am
Me
anti.
too.
Yeah, it's awesome. And people are showing love for their favorite players. And some people have 4 generations of players that they have in jersey form. What I don't like is, okay, so yesterday was what? Yesterday was Commanders and the Vikings.
Yep.
If I see somebody in the concourse with like a powder blue LaDainian Tomlinson Chargers jersey,
right.
I want to ask that guy, what is it just because you're at an NFL game that you're going to wear your Fins gear that suddenly you're the biggest Texans fan? What is that? It's Commanders and Vikings. Leave the Bears stuff at home. You know what I mean?
Bro, did you think the game was in London where you're at Tottenham Hotspur or Twickenham and you look up at the crowd and you got like a game-worn Jaguars Tony Baselli? You have a Dan Fouts Chargers, Kenny Stabler Raiders. It's the bit when you cross the pond.
Well, that's neutral field celebration, though.
Yeah, that ain't the bit. When you got Commanders and Vikings, I mean, now it's just kind of looking like you didn't have anything to wear. You didn't do the laundry. Everything's either too big or too small.
Yeah.
So you pulled out the one football-related thing that actually fits, but it happened to be a LaDainian Tomlinson navy blue with bolts on the shoulders, Chargers jersey.
Cool logo, by the way.
Sweet
and yes,
logo.
we appreciate that the Legion of Boom had the lime green and all of that, but I don't need to see an old Richard Sherman throwback when it's Vikings Bears, or in this case, Vikings Commanders. So, I don't know.
But when I say the job at First Resource Bank in Minneapolis that you started last week, you've already changed. And here's what I mean, is let's not forget the third game of the season, Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
And I'm pulling into the palatial purple paradise. Man, I usually get there about 8 o'clock, 8:10, something like that. 8:15, 8:30. Well, it's about 8:30, and I'm rolling by Chicago to find my spot. Well, there are a couple sporting nines, Taylor Heisey and Parker Fox. Well, funny how when the fiance demands you wear the 9, you wear the 9.
Oh, that's what
But
it
now
is.
all of a sudden we've had a big boy job for a week, and it's like, just wearing jerseys. I think I'm a little too old for it now.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean?
what's crazy, though?
Bro, you wore a Jim Peterson T-shirt
That
to
was
a
sweet.
Timber. It was sweet.
That was sweet.
But it's akin to what we're talking about.
You're right, it is. And in my defense, I had the 9 on at about 9:30 a.m. I had it on.
And then you didn't trust him like everybody else.
I had a cream sweatshirt on underneath, and I couldn't find pants to match.
Are you kidding me with that?
I couldn't find it, PA.
Well,
What's wrong with a pair of jeans?
But your
I don't
9,
have a pair of
your
jeans.
9 is white. Okay.
No, the 9's purple.
Oh,
the 9's purple.
Because beige doesn't match white.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you already messed up with the beige and the white.
Yeah, and then Nordo hits me with, why not the jeans? I don't own a pair of jeans. So,
Really?
yeah.
Is it tough to find jeans?
It is,
for
but
you?
it's less, it's just not a practical thing for me because I'm not going to wear jeans to quote unquote work. And I'm also not going to wear them on the weekend. I'm a sweatpants guy. So
Did you ever get tired having to put, you're like 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", whatever.
Yeah.
With the tearaways, like
Oh, yeah.
75 buttons on those things.
they're the worst. We would have our managers button those up for us, and they would absolutely hate it. You know,
Jeez, wow.
they would. You could just see their face the moment you pulled them off. You did the KG, the vintage KG pull off. The managers would just throw their head back and roll their eyes because they know they have to button all those back up.
So do you get to wear tearaways and a jersey on Fridays at First Resource Bank?
That should be my new outfit.
Does Mr. Siegley have casual Fridays?
Yeah, I just I rock the linen pants or
That's probably
something
smart.
Like
So
that.
you're wearing linen in December.
Yeah.
And you're talking about style.
It's cozy.
And loafers?
Wow.
Got some All Saints on, baby.
Okay. So you did complete your first week of the big boy job.
That's right.
How was it?
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, tremendous team over there.
Of course it was. You watched Sunday's game in the Medtronic. You were courtside Saturday night at the Timberwolves game. Were those Uncle Tim's tickets too?
Those were not. Yeah,
they weren't?
those were not. But no, the week was great. They've created a fantastic team over there, as you know. I think a lot of times when you've played college basketball for so long, you consume yourself with the team environment, and when you leave that, you kind of search for an identity, and you're looking for a team atmosphere. And give a lot of credit to Tim and Aaron for what they've created over there. It's truly a team.
That's Parker Fox. It's Swaggy P Fox via TikTok. And at Parker Fox 24 via X. Much more with the Elite Sports Mind after that.